Hi guys, welcome to another sequence. In this sequence, I want to talk about again about parasitic beings, the humanity's paradigm, humanity's this paradigm, its nature, how it is created, why is it here, um, from different standpoints of explanation. What is it? Um, One's energetic ability, humanity's ascension to that again energetic ability. Um, I also want to talk about specific parasitic races by firstly explaining what parasitic beings are, what is their nature, um, what is their character. Also, I want to speak about shortly, extremely shortly, about my experiences with demons, demonic beings, parasitic beings, negative galactic races, however you want to call it. Um, as also, I want to speak about one race, one galactic race that is very little known about within public information, as for the internet, etc. So I want to speak about one specific galactic parasitic race that you can almost not find any information on the internet. Um, yeah, so let's go into it. Parasitic beings are, firstly, all is source self creation. It is one thing experiencing itself. Source, you as a human being, through you flows source energy. Through your chakras flows source energy. Source energy. You have the ability to self sustain yourself. Um, Parasitic beings, or the purely negative of the negative polarity of the self, those beings are pure sheer separation, meaning they're separation of what? They're separated of source. The word source means self-sustenance, self-sustenance from that pond of energy, of source. So demonic beings are cut off completely. They're not like human beings, which have darkness and light, and they're of that ability for self-sustenance from source with source energy. They're purely negative side, and purely cut off from source energy, meaning self-sustenance. Humanity, the self, but precisely humanity as a galactic race, humanity is still in extreme unconsciousness, meaning consciousness fragmentation, or not seeing also other galactic races as itself. This galactic over enslavement, basically over tyranny over humanity, is only possible because humanity is still in its unconscious to see other galactic races as itself. Humanity is still in its baby shoes of consciousness, seeing everything as itself, integration. So that galactic overrule over humanity was able, because humanity was still so in unconsciousness of seeing that which landed upon them, which was unfortunately negative, consumative, and slavish, that those negative races, and thereof humanity's code got distorted by that landing, that corruption, and it now is physical, that enslavement, with all these agendas and attempts to keep humanity's consciousness suppressed. Now, parasitic beings, they see the human collective's energy as their pond of source. A human being has subconsciousness. The self has subconsciousness. Parasitic beings, demonic beings, are, in other words, subconsciousness of the self. They are higher or lower dimensional subconsciousness of the self. That's what demonic beings, parasitic beings, or these galactic races of the negative polarity are, like draconians, Anunnaki, Zetas, etc. These are higher dimensional or lower dimensional subconsciousness of the self, meaning cut off from themselves, seeing as source the self. And currently, the level, the status of humanity is that humanity has an overrule, energetic overrule by them, of them, by them. They are ruling energetically over humanity because humanity is in its energetic consciousness awakening to that energetic ability, which is also warfare, as to be protected against those enslavish galactic races. It all ties in with it because humanity is not sharp in its energetic ability, in its energetic warfare. Your energetic ability is the ability to combat those other galactic races, basically which basically strive along the galaxy and enslave everything that they can enslave. And they can enslave races, and humanity is a race which is not prepared and not evolved enough as to combat them energetically. So humanity's priority is to evolve its energetic ability, its energetic defense, every individual on an individual basis to evolve one's energetic ability as to be prepared and be able to defend oneself, to neutralize those parasitic beings, galactic beings who attempt to enslave this race and oneself on an individual basis, to be able to protect oneself and neutralize that threat in energetic means. So your energetic ability is your energetic ability in energetic warfare to neutralize separation, parasitic beings, demonic beings. So it is highly advised to get a hold of, to an extent, be it only by getting some information that one has this ability that also awakens already one's energetic ability. It is advised to advance a bit oneself in that, because humanity is in a galactic enslavement. So what humanity needs is for humanity as some form in like a militia to start to weaponize itself again with that which they try to close off. They attempt to constantly screw with humanity's evolvement with all means that they succeed to make physical, because those what we call shadow governments, basically people behind administration, is what a shadow government is. Shadow government, because it is behind the administration, it's not public, that's why it's called a shadow government. So these people behind, which have extremely egocentric goals, their characteristic is opportunistic, but in a negative sense. They don't strive back from harm if it harms the collective, as to gain their egocentric desire, exploitation. See parasitic beings see the collective's energy as their exploitative ground, source feeding ground. So also the shadow government, the profiteers, see the collective as their profiting ground. So there is that connection. Those galactic races which keep humanity in enslavement and feed off of humanity is the connection to that shadow government, which also feeds from the collective in physical means. They are both connected. The galactic over enslavement of humanity and that shadow government acting out the agenda of those galactic races. Their agenda is to keep the collective still in confusion. They're still encaged like cattle. For galactic races, those negative polarity, which are cut off from source, see humanity's energy as their feeding ground. So they attempt everything to build those fences around the collective's energy as to keep it still encaged. In other words, this means to keep the humanity's energetic ability encaged by all means. I will speak about those means just in a short breath. So they keep that consciousness expansion. They attempt to keep it encaged by all means, because with cattle you want to have it enfenced, right? That fence that serves something as for that cattle not to be free, right? So they attempt to enfence humanity's collective's energy, that expansion, consciousness expansion, and thereof with that consciousness expansion, meaning simultaneously humanity's liberation out of that galactic enslavement, also this physical enslavement, because those minions of those galactic demonic beasts, galactic negative races, they are their right hand to act out their agenda in this physical plane, right? This shadow government is their right hand, their minions to those galactic races who seek to engage the human collective's energy. It is their right hand as to be able to act out that galactic agenda into this physical plane to keep humanity in shape. Negative galactic races to keep humanity's energy encaged, enslaved, need human beings who sell humanity to them and then enforce their agenda in the physical realm with all kinds of means. Now, that's my point. Humanity's energy is a cattle, a source, feeding ground for galactic races. The subconsciousness of a human being is the feeding ground of a parasitic being, demonic being. And those shadow governments, they act out their agenda in the physical realm. They're their minions, their right hand, because otherwise they couldn't enforce that in the physical realm without humans selling the collective to them by enforcing their agenda. Methods are, for example, to the food pyramid. It's an attempt of warfare against humanity. Grains, all this stuff that is widely known and widely accepted is actually something that is not suitable for humanity. That's just one thing. These are all like things which are broadly accepted because that indoctrination. This is an agenda which is years, hundreds of years, thousands of years old. Another thing are all these things that are coming in. Now, keep in mind, these are all methods. These are all smart parts as to make that fence around that cattle, us, still holding. Vaccination, to create a virus, COVID, to release it into the public and then justify vaccination, which has aluminium in it, as to attempt to, in a controlish manner, make it mandatory for humanity now needing, in a sense, to inject that vaccination, which has aluminium, that in detriments, breaks down your energetic ability. It slows down by harming your energetic body. It slows down your consciousness expansion, your liberation, humanity's liberation out of this status, this enslavish status. It breaks the speed of that unfoldment, liberation through that consciousness expansion out of this paradigm, which is physical but also galactic, energetic. The human race is a multidimensional race. So, your energetic ability is your ability to neutralize separation. I have made another video, and I'm going probably to do another where I explain this energetic method more concrete. But you have a heart chakra veil, and with it, you can harness extreme high frequency. So with your energetic ability, you can neutralize separation precisely. You can neutralize, in other words, parasitic beings precisely. Your energetic ability is you weaponizing yourself with that ability as to firstly free yourself and then maybe humanity by you yourself freeing yourself. And that is that. So, your energetic ability is the ability to neutralize and free yourself and then humanity with it from its galactic enslavement. And the galactic enslavement has also become physical with all these, with physical measurements of control keeping that human collective encaged. So I have not yet touched the points which I wanted to speak about. I'm going to make another video because I am compromised by 15 minutes, the mark 15 minutes. So see you in the next part.